Thank you very much.
The next call is a split call. Lees-Galloway, 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr Chairman. That was a very eloquent contribution from the member Andrew Bailey, and it was lovely to hear him extolling the virtues of the New Zealand Superannuation Fund, the Cullen Fund as it's affectionately known. It's good that Mr Bailey's a new member in the House and wasn't here back in 2001, because otherwise the National Party would have deployed him to tell us all the reasons why the Cullen Fund was an appalling idea and something that was a waste of money and something that New Zealand couldn't afford. And it's good to see that the National Party has finally come round to the idea that actually the Superannuation Fund squirreling away some money now, investing it very wisely, and Mr Bailey did discuss at length the success of the New Zealand Superannuation Fund in order to fund our superannuation needs in the future from 2030 onwards, was actually a very wise and forward-thinking idea from the then Labor government and introduced by the Finance Minister, Michael Cullen. Of course, National said, no, we can't do this. In fact, National bemoaned the fact that Labor ran surpluses. They said we should provide tax cuts. And of course that would have made it impossible to save that money. National always thinking about their mates first and always thinking about the here and now, no vision for the future, no foresight whatsoever. They opposed KiwiSaver and they opposed interest-free student loans and they opposed a whole host of things that they now actually support. And that's the nature of Conservative governments, no ideas of their own, got all sorts of reasons why you shouldn't do things, but then when they actually bed in and turn out to be good ideas, actually, they supported it all along. And it's interesting to hear Chris Bishop, actually, he is the master of spin, we all know that, perhaps not after the Northland by-election, but he was one of the National Party spin doctors before he came into Parliament, and he said that Labor likes to call this the Cullen Fund. Actually, people might not remember this, but the Cullen Fund as a term was an invention of the National Party. That's right. And because they thought that by associating Dr Cullen with this awful superannuation fund that it might actually damage Labor. Communism, yes, not by stealth by that stage. I don't think they'd coined that term at that point. Of course, this was in 2001, and we all know what happened to the National Party in the 2002 election. With their 20% result. And so maybe they've realised that actually the Cullen Fund is now a term of endearment and they want to try and say that it was something we invented. Actually, it was the National Party in an appalling effort of trying to spin against the Superannuation Fund. I was also quite pleased to hear from Mr Bailey that he was impressed by both the success of the Superannuation Fund and ACC with its investments. And they are actually two of the best investment vehicles in New Zealand. I think actually as a private citizen, I'd quite like to be able to invest my money in either of those because they do a very, very good job. And it's a really good demonstration of how the state actually can run things extremely well. The state can be prudent in managers of finance. The state can be prudent investors, and actually the decisions that these state agencies, essentially ACC and the Superannuation Fund, are making around investment are actually doing wonderful things for the country, and it flies in the face of what the National Party believes in, that you've got to privatise everything, and in the private sector will always be better at the state at absolutely everything, particularly around matters of finance. And Andrew Bailey actually used the word innovative, and it again proves that the state can be a source of great innovation, much in opposition to what the National Party believes. So this is a good piece of legislation that Labor is happy to support. It will improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the way the guardians of the Superannuation Fund are able to administer the fund in order to carry on the absolutely superb results that the Superannuation Fund has achieved since it was created and established back in 2003. And that's important because this is a long-term investment. This was something set up by a Labor government that was interested in ensuring that the security of future generations was supported by the actions that we take now. And so we do support this bill because this is a good fund and a good way to secure New Zealand's future.
Call James Shaw, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.